Hello and welcome to Pro Tips. My name is Anna Daviscourt, and today we are going to be working in Adobe Photoshop looking at smart objects. We are so excited about this because this is the trick that can basically allow you to edit and duplicate pixels to within an inch of their lives and still bring back the original pixels. You can have your cake and eat it too, and I'm going to show you how. Before we jump into Photoshop, I do want to say hello to everybody in the chat because we've got so many familiar faces. And I know, faces, Your little avatars, I can see them. But thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Huge shout out to CJ for being our mod today, as well as Kendall for being first in the chat. Gold star, Kendall. Good job. We've also got Clever Devlin, we've got Oliver, Frank, Patrick, Sean. Oh, thank you everybody for being here. Hi, Carol. Robert, thank you so much for being here and chatting. We have a big chat on Behance as well as on YouTube, so if you want to join in, you can chat away. Thank you everybody for joining. I know you're all global audience and everything, so shout out where you're coming from. All right, we've only got a half hour today to talk about smart objects, so I do want to jump into Photoshop and get cooking. Let's do this. So, on the left, you will see this is a postcard that I designed for Adobe, actually. Some of you may have gotten it if you're community members, and this is a really fun design that I came up with. I especially love the border, though. Honestly, the border has got it. So I was kind of thinking today we can make a memo pad version of this border, and I can show you all about how I use smart objects to do that. So memo pads are basically like post-it note sized little pads of paper that you can put custom artwork on. Super cool. A very good way to monetize and sell your work if you're really thinking about that kind of stuff, but also just fun to make for you. So I have a 6x6 file here, and I have the ruler tool on, which if you ever want to use the ruler tool, it's these little numbers on each edge, and they have like that slider you see there. And that is Command or Control R to bring those up. Super quick. And you can see I can slide them anywhere on here, but if I want them to snap to specific numbers, all I have to do is go View. Oh wait, I got Snap on. Boom. Snap. View, snap. All right, so I want to go to 3 inches because that's halfway between 6 inches and 3 inches here so that I get quadrants on this, because the goal of this is I'm going to duplicate the edge border around, so I only have to draw one quadrant and then duplicate it. So to start, I'm just going to start with a new layer. I'm going to do this dark green kind of color from my original inspiration. I've got it over here, so lucky me. And I'm just going to take a big fat brush. Let's do Kyle's Bristle Bomb brush, one of my favorites. And I'm just going to start painting in a little bit of a background design for my strawberries. So this is, it could be straight edge or it could be kind of loopy. On the left side, I did kind of bloopy shapes, kind of like scallops. But on this one, I'm thinking maybe like having some kind of swoop that comes to a point in the center over here. Again, remember that this is going to be duplicated. So whatever I do on one of the sides is going to be basically mirrored. Kind of like a symmetry tool thing. By the way, if you don't know about the symmetry tool, you can Google Adobe Live and symmetry tool, and it'll probably come up with the best educational video that you could possibly get. I want this to be thick enough to house enough of our strawberries, but not so thick that it's impeding on the center area of our memo pad here. All right, so we've got some shape in here. What I'm going to do is just select this area, and I'm going to do Control or Command Shift I to get the inverse selection. That's a hot tip for you, by the way. And then I'm going to delete the excess so that we only have what is within this quadrant. You might be thinking, so what do smart objects have to do with this? Well, I'm going to actually right click on this layer that I have right now, and all you have to do is go to Convert Smart Object to Smart Object. Wow. Well, it's a smart thing. I'm not really smart, so you know. So now we have what's called a smart object. In the layers panel, you can see there's a little icon on it as well as a rim around it. So that's how you know it's a smart object. So there are a few things about smart objects that you need to know. One is that they are not accessible like a regular layer. What they are is amazing. So all you have to do is double click on the icon of that layer and look at this. we have a new file that is completely just this layer. Let me show you what happens when you do something to this file. I'm going to go for the Carbonara New, smaller brush, and I'm going to go for a slightly lighter and more yellowy green. And I'm going to add a few little viney things because, you know, strawberries. Whoop. And I'm going to plan out just a little bit of design here and hopefully it'll turn out cute. We can add, of course, some real sloppy and messy leaves. I love the sloppy, messy part. I don't know about you guys, but that's like one of my favorite areas. I always want my work to look looser, so this is the fun part when you just allow yourself to play. Actually, over here, I think I'm going to have a strawberry. So where I plan on having strawberries, I'm going to have little strawberry toppers, let's call them. Here, let me show you guys the full size here. So this will be like where a strawberry hangs down past the border. Here is going to be inside the border. And right here we can have another one. Beep, bop, boop, boop. All right, so now that we have a real messy idea of this, let's save it. What do you think will happen when we save it? I bet you guys know because you're regulars around here. All you have to do is Control S and boom, it updates on your mega file. Now, what can we do with the smart object? We can duplicate it. Control or Command J is my favorite way to duplicate. And then we can transform it. I'm going to go Edit, Transform, and Flip Horizontal. That means it goes this way. And we're just going to drag it over into the other quadrant. Duplicate it again, Control J. And I'm going to flip it or transform it vertical. Boom. There we go. All right, one more time. Let's Control J, Edit, Transform, Horizontal again this time, and then it'll go whoop, whoop. And I'm holding Shift when I move these so that they only move in one direction. So they're moving completely horizontal or completely vertical. CJ says J is for duplicate. I love that. Oh, and Kendall says I miss Anna's streams. Always the best for co-working. Oh, thank you, Kendall. I miss streaming too. I used to stream on my personal channel, but now I'm working on Adobe Live mostly. Okay, so we have learned how to duplicate. That's straight up just the basics of smart objects. Now let's push the limits of what smart objects can do a little bit. What I want to do is pop open our one smart object. So you know that there are 4 layers of smart objects that are the same one file that it links to. So again, let's change something up. Let's add leaves to this part. And let's see. I don't want it to go over because we're, you know, duplicating. So here, let's put some smaller leaves at this part. And one more like curly Q right here, just because vines are really fun. And then Control S for save. And it it updates all of our smart objects. So we get to see immediately just that payoff. How lovely. It's already looking really good. Honestly, this is like a jungle viney kind of vibe, but we can add some more to it. Some more. We should have s'mores on the stream. Okay, so what I want to do is create a new layer. I'm going to go back to the bristle balm, and now it's strawberry time. Oh yeah. I'm excited. Are you excited? Because I am. All right, so all we have to do is pop in our strawberry. So at the beginning, I promised you 3 use cases for the smart objects. And one is duplicating. We've already covered that. The second one I'm going to show is nesting. So I have 2 strawberries here. Whoops, I only want 1 because I can duplicate it. We can have smart objects within smart objects. Is that wild or what? So you can take this layer, once again, just right click and then convert to smart object. If you know a hotkey for creating smart objects, I would love you to throw it in the chat because I don't know a hotkey for it right now, but I bet there is one because that's just the way it goes. I want to have just a slight bit more room to mess around with the shape of this, and I'll show you what happens when I do that. So I save, and it basically just recenters where my smart object is, which is so easy to just like drag and drop to a new place. So it's not a biggie. Where did my smart object go? Here we go. Oh, I keep minimizing it accidentally. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so what I want to do is just add the smallest bit of detail. I really don't need these to be crazy, like photorealistic strawberries. If you don't know my work, I'm a children's book illustrator, so I do things that are a bit more, what would you call it? Simplified graphically. And I love it. So it's something that I want to figure out the most abstracted we can make something while still making it look like itself and also have fun painting it. So I'm going to just add this little bit of shadow, but it's not necessarily like a shadow that's a form shadow or a cast shadow or anything like that. It's more of a graphic shadow. And we can save to see what that looks like. Boom, there we go. I actually might, here, let me lighten this slightly because I feel like it's a little too harsh. Beep. Oh, boop. There we go. Yeah, that's right. Okay, and then I have a second layer. I'm going to go in with that smaller brush again, Carbonara New. It's not the old Carbonara, it's the new. And Clever says, I need a little paper Anna with a little flappy, giggly head. All right, I'll make it for you. Oh, also interesting. Patrick says you could make your own hotkeys for smart objects. Mine is Command Option period. Command Option period. It was funny. I was reading that and I was like, Command Option easy because that was the next word they said. Oh, that's funny. Kendall says, according to Google, it's Command Option Shift E on Mac and Control Alt Shift E on Windows. The more you know. Oh, and Club Wade. Club Wade is in the house. I guess we're all in Club Wade. Hi, Wade. How are you? Okay, so with my smaller brush here, I am going to add little seeds. Just little guys so that we have the look of straub. I do love a straub. When was the last time you ate a strawberry? You should eat another one. Remembering that this memo pad is going to be slightly smaller, so I don't want it to be too detailed and minute. I want it to be kind of chunky. And then we can just go around and duplicate just as we did with the vines and the whole edge of this piece, really. And, oh, here, I want this to point that way. And we have smart objects within smart objects. This I call nesting. So we've got duplicating, we've got nesting. What could possibly be next? And I want this one, I think I'm going to put it over. Yeah, there we go. Beep. And the thing is, I can always go back and clean these up. So I can go into this file and be like, oh, I don't like the messy edge on this one area. All I have to do is clean it up and save it. And boom, we've got updated straubs. And then, do you see how on our master file we don't have straubs yet? Sorry, I have to call them straubs for some reason. All I have to do is Control Save, and there are our straubs. Look at them. Okay, I love this. However, we're missing some kind of berry right there. We need the red. So maybe it will go off the edge. Maybe it'll just be from some unknown part of this world. Part of this world. I love it. I love it. This is beautiful. This is all coming together so quickly. Okay, so one last thing that I want to show you for use cases of smart objects and why you need them in your work. Okay, I did not know this before maybe a year ago, and it still blows my mind that this is how smart objects can work. You'll see in my original piece over here that we're taking inspiration from, I have stars amongst the berries. So I think what we should do is add little stars. Should we go for, like, what do you call it? Pointy stars? Or should we do just glowy dots? What do you think? I want to hear in the chat. Angled stars or dots? You could put periods in the chat for dots and star emojis for like the sharp ones. When we're doing that, I'm just gonna make, let's do like a light yellow, classic star stuff. We can try out both. Beep boop beep boop. Kendall just screams, stars! I agree. Clever says dots by 3. Oliver says pointy. Okay, okay. Pointy, we've got. Kendall says pointy. Any more pointies or any dots? I do love the dots by 3. That's so specific. Hey, how about let's do mostly pointy and a little bit of dot action? Maybe 3 dots so that, it's exactly what Clever said. All right, you go away, whatever you are. Okay, so I'm going to add some of these stars, and this is just for funsies. This is not part of the smart objects, but what we're going to do next is going to show off the smart objects. So hold your pants. Hold your pants? Is that a thing? Hold on tight. Okay, so we've got stars. We've got 2 dots. Let's do a 3rd dot down here. Okay, and then click save. Boom. All right, now here is where I'm going to blow your mind. So what we're going to do is create a new layer on top of everything. I'm going to get a big rough brush. I'm going to fill it with a little bit of yellow paint. Could do whatever color. And I'm just going to brush over the stars and over our dots really loosely, really messily. Beep, boop. Just like that. And then I'm going to make this a smart object. So again, we right click and we go down to where are you? Convert to smart object. Boom. All right, so now it's smart. What are we going to do next? Let's go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Look at what this does. It creates a smart filter underneath, and you can double click on it and always have access to how blurry it's going to be. There, in my experience of Photoshop, there is no other way to do exactly this. Gaussian blur is usually a destructive edit. It's something where you have to duplicate a layer to save your pixels and then apply the Gaussian blur. But now you can apply it and never lose the original pixels. If you double click in here, you still have the original artwork completely unfazed by what's happening to it out here. How far can this go? Well, we have Gaussian blur on it, but what if I want to change the color of this? All I'm going to do is go to, where was it again? Oh gosh. Filter? No, it was image, right? Adjustments. Boom. There. I know how to do things. Usually I use adjustment layers. That's why I'm like, wait, where? So all you have to do is have your smart object selected. Then you go to image adjustments. I'm going to throw a saturation layer on it. And again, usually this would be destructive. But right now, all I have to do is have it be a smart object, and suddenly it's a smart filter. I can double click on it in my layers panel and always have access to it. How cool is that? Ah, love it. Kendall says there isn't a smart object hotkey by default, apparently. Tisk tisk. Well, apparently you can make your own shortcuts. So if you want to do that, you can make your own. Pretty awesome, right? All right. Let's see here. So we've got our smart object with our Gaussian blur on it. I think, honestly, we are cooking, but everything looks like it's a little bit stagnant on my end. I don't see myself moving on the camera, and it makes me nervous that you guys can't see me, but we'll see. We'll see if it comes through. Okay. So in Photoshop, are you going to register my clicks? Is everything crashing? No. We're good. We're good. Okay, cool. We're good. So those are the 3 use cases that I have to show you today. We've got duplication, we've got nesting, and we've got editing. All of these things are way less destructive than anything else, any other techniques you could basically use. Smart objects are magical that way. And what I wanted to spend the rest of our time doing, well, obviously you gotta see, oh, look at that. How amazing. Is I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, my history, actually. Oh, gotcha. Kendall says, I think your video is frozen. The screen recording is going strong, though. Okay, good. That's good to know. I'm just, forever stuck in this world of limbo. But that's all right, as long as you guys can still hear me. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about while I paint up and make this look a little bit prettier is I wanted to tell you how I used to use the smart objects in my life, and it was a absolute game changer for a job I used to have, and that was working on the game Farmville. if you didn't know, I actually worked in video games for quite a while. And Farmville had a lot of trees with a lot of fruit on them. And what you would do is create one apple, and seriously, or whatever fruit it was. They actually had very specific restraints or like constrictions on their trees. So what they would do, or I would do, is create an entire group of smart object apples, and if I wanted to add just the right shine or just the right color gradient or anything like that, all I had to do was paint one apple. That is magic, especially when you're trying to, as quickly as possible, push out great artwork. When you're in a pipeline of video game stuff, it never ends, so you have to be fast, and that kind of thing is a lifesaver, absolute lifesaver. I'm going to have that vine go off the edge and just see if we connect it. This kind of takes a patterny brain to be able to know where everything's going to connect. But that's part of the fun part. Robert says Control F2 to convert to Smart Object and Control Shift F2 to convert to Layer. I guess that is, thank you, Robert, first of all, for putting that up. But that is a great excuse to talk about what the difference between a regular layer and a smart object layer is. Because there are certain times when, say, I'm sure you guys have run into this, if you drag an image into Photoshop, it will automatically be a smart object. And sometimes you're like, oh, I'm trying to trim it down or like delete a part of it, and it won't let you because it's a smart object. And you would have to either double click into it and edit it, or you can right click and convert, or it was rasterize layer. So here, let me show you. If you right click on a smart object layer, you can go to rasterize layer and it will create just one layer of whatever was in that file. Now I can control undo to make it back to my strawberry. But that is a very good thing to know, is if you ever want to reverse it, you absolutely can. And if you ever want to take all of the layers out of your smart object, all you have to do is drag and drop. So really, there is nothing lost. And I always love the attitude of people who, when they first find out about a trick in Photoshop, they try to push it to the limits to be like, okay, how far can I go with before it breaks? And I remember one of my art friends actually going in and trying to make as many smart objects as possible and like nesting them as much as possible. And it took an absurd amount to get anywhere near like slowing down. So this is actually a surprisingly stable feature, I would say. Pretty amazing that it exists the way it does. Let's add some leaves right here. Doesn't always have to be 3. Sean says, at least it's a nice frozen image. Thanks. Yeah, it could have been like right in the middle of me going, oh, we're coming up on time so quick. So I'm going to turn this back on and save so that you guys can see some of this beauteousness. This is the memo pad that we've made today. I really hope that you try this out for yourself because smart objects make everything better. I just have to say, that is genuine. I cannot imagine painting like one of the Farmville trees with absolutely no smart objects. It would be torture because you would have to do every apple individually. And that's just not okay. I'm sorry, there are too many apples. So keep it in mind for your next project. If there's something that you could easily duplicate, this is the best way to do it without damaging any of your pixels and always having access to your original artwork. Keep it in mind for whichever ways you can use it, especially if there is something like a border like this. I know that in the past I have duplicated what I thought was my finished artwork and done it all around, and then I change something and I have to reduplicate everything, and that's no fun. Just no fun at all. So smart objects, not only are they fun, but they are the smartest way to get this done. All right. I hope that you guys had a great time hanging out today. I know I did. A quick half hour. But let me know how you use your smart objects, and if you have any questions, there is actually a Photoshop Discord. I will show you in the outro where to find that Photoshop Discord, and in the meantime, there's just so many places that you can share your artwork, but I have a personal Discord as well called Stream Peeps, and you can go there and share your artwork as well. Had so much fun with you guys. I hope you have a great day and stick around for more awesome Adobe Live. See ya!